Hello, everyone. Am I heard? Can you guys hear me? Let me know. I'm gonna say what's up. What's up, Herme? Goncalves, I think. P, what's up? What's up, Kim Fam? Let me know if I'm heard, and then we could talk about some Avatar news this last month. Still not a lot, not the big story that we wanted, obviously, with Kin Fam. Thank you for the 17 months of being a member on this channel. By the way, you too can be a member on this channel for streams and polls. Probably in the future, probably not now, but in the future, I probably will have these streams be members only, just to make it like a little bit more exclusive. But also, you know, if you want to be on the Discord and such like that, you can do it as well. Firefox, what's going on? So let's talk about some Avatar, shall we? Let me look at what our first big story is, which I think I said was going to be the Kyoshi thing, which I don't think that was the first piece of news that we got this month. It actually might have been, actually. Let's see. So it looks like on no, okay, well the big thing that we got first off, the first story that we're going to talk about here. Let's talk about how Avatar Studios' first movie will be set 12 years after the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which means that we'll have Aang at age 24, Katara at age 26, Toph at age 24, Zuko at 28, and then Sokka at age 27. So they're definitely in their, like, distinctly their adult years. So I want to ask you guys in the chat poll if you are excited about the ages that they are going to be in the show, or if you're expecting something different, if you have different thoughts. Let's see what the poll can say. So let's go. Are you okay with the movie being set 12 years after ATLA? And then one answer, of course, would be yes, no, and then we'll just do another one for unsure to see what you guys are feeling about it. As I'm asking you that question, as you guys are in that poll, I'll talk about it myself. I mean, that's exactly what I expected from the show to be. I'm expecting them to be like in their late 20s. I forgot how much younger Aang is compared to the rest of the crew, outside of Toph, of course. But I always forget how young Aang is. But him being 24. And people have been wondering, I don't know if anybody has done like the calculation or not. Has anyone in the chat done the calculation on how old the kids would be, or if the kids would even exist right now? Like, would we see Boomy, who is a non-bender, and then Kaya at least? I don't know if we'll see Tenzin at this point. I think it'd be too early to see Tenzin. But I think we might at least see Boomy in this movie, right? Like a child version of Boomy. Because I don't know if we have an official... Do we know officially how old Boomy is during, you know, what time? Oh, nice. I'm glad that they are not too old. I'm excited since we get to see their primes. Firefox. Oh, that's very true. I didn't even think about it in that way. But yes, this would be them in their primes. Like, this is exactly the time period in which Aang is developing into his prime self, which is something that I've been wanting for a while, mostly for versus video purposes, because then you can actually assess them to what their highest capabilities are. Because, you know, so far we've only seen them as kids and we've seen them as really old people, but we haven't had that in between, particularly for Toph. Toph is the one I want to see more so than anything, is how powerful or unpowerful. Because here's the thing, I think that when you see more of a certain character, you're more likely to see them engaged in battles that they're going to lose. And right now, Toph gets a little bit overrated, in my opinion, as a combatant, because she has not had any notable 1v1 fights in the animated series and even in the comics. In the comics, she has faced Boomy, and they fought to a draw. But then, you know, she had that little losing a spout with oh girl, I forgot the girl's name in Yang Ling in the comics. So it'll be interesting because I some people say, oh, I want to see more stuff, but at the same time, you might get disappointed because you're going to see them losing fights, because that's what you have to have happen, you know. In a story typically is to have that conflict and have people losing fights, and I if Toph ends up losing some fights, I don't know, and people might not be so happy about that. Oh, good, thank you. That would be really cool. Boomy seems kind of old, to be honest. Yeah, he does seem pretty old. So I think Boomy, and when I say Boomy, I'm not talking about King Boomy. I'm talking about Boomy, Aang, and Katara's kid. I wonder if by age 24, if Aang is 24 and Katara is 26, at that age, would they have had Boomy the child? Like, would they have had that at that point? I think that by that age, Aang already has Boomy and Kaya. Okay, that's what I thought. Troy, I was saying that at the beginning of the stream too, is that I think that they would have at least Boomy and Kaya. I think Tenzin comes a little bit later, but Boomy and Kaya should be there. With Boomy being 5 already, I think. Oh, okay, cool. So according to Troy in the chat, Boomy, the child Boomy, should be around 5 years old, meaning that Kaya should be, what, 2 years old? I don't know what the age difference between Kaya and Boomy is. But that'll be interesting to see how that's going to work out and what that would be, especially to see possibly how Aang might feel a little bit uneasy that he might be the last airbender because, of course, his first child is a non-bender, or at least initially is a non-bender. Of course, we know that Boomy gets airbending later on after Harmonic Convergence at the end of season 2 or at the beginning of season 3 of Legend of Korra. And then his second child is a waterbender, which I'm sure he's happy about, because, Katara is a waterbender and that, he was able to birth a bender. But I know, in the back of his mind that, he wants that airbender because he wants to, be able to have that legacy, which is one of the reasons I think that Aang is not a bad dad. I know that's an opinion that's out there in the Avatar verse is that, oh, why did they make him a bad dad? And people are like a little bit too harsh on that decision. I think it was a really good one. Oh, by the way, sorry, Troy, I didn't say hello to you. Hello, Troy. Thank you for coming to the stream today. Also, I've thought about this for a while. Oh, this is Firefox saying this in the chat. Also, I've thought about this for a while, but the original show, since it's older, the fights sometimes seem more janky, turn-based when going back to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender again after seeing Korra fights. You know something? I actually do agree with that because I was the video I just put out this morning. I had to get some clips from some of their fights, and yeah, the fights in the original show did feel more turn-based in that it seemed like it was like, all right, it's my turn to attack. All right, now it's my turn to defend. All right, my turn to attack. And then Korra, by the difference in Korra is that everything flows in that, and that's one of the better things about Korra, right? Is that their action sequences are way more clean. And yeah, no, I totally agree. I do agree that the original show had some janky fight choreography sometimes. Like at the basis of it was great, like the martial arts was great behind it. But some of the animation and the way that it flowed definitely was a little bit more janky than what we have in Korra, which is way more smooth. For sure. I definitely agree with that, Firefox. So yeah, seeing them as adults in this new movie, I think is going to be really cool. Let me end the poll right now to see what you guys say about how do you guys feel about them being in their mid-20s, mid to late 20s. So 88% of you say yes, definitely like that they are in their mid to late 20s. 11% of you say you're unsure, and then 0% of you said no. So I'm happy to see that the age that they chose for the characters works for everybody, with Aang being 24, Katara 26, them being the lead characters. That's been confirmed that they are the lead characters of this new Avatar movie that's coming out. We're unsure about Toph, unsure about Zuko, but we do know confirmed Sokka is going to be a supporting character. But I would expect that Toph and Zuko will probably appear. Though maybe less sure about Zuko because Zuko is going to get his own solo standalone movie. So it could be the case that, maybe he won't feature so much in the, Team Avatar movie. Perhaps, maybe. Sorry, let me catch up to chat real quick before we move on to the next story. Unless you guys want to talk more about this story, if there's anything that I missed or you guys want me to discuss or you guys want to discuss, let me know. Don't think we know Boomy the Second's exact age, but Tenzin, by the way, Minhal, that's actually a better way to say Boomy. Boomy the Second. Although I don't know if his name is actually Boomy the Second, but we are going to say Boomy the Second just so we don't get him confused with King Boomy. But yeah, Boomy the Second's exact age, we don't know it, but Tenzin was 55 by book 4 from what I'm seeing in the wiki. Okay, cool. So if he's 55, can anyone do the quick math on that one? So if he's 55 in book 4, we know that Aang died when he was 66, I believe. So I don't think Tenzin would be alive by this point in the timeline, right? Or am I completely off on that? But I don't think Tenzin would be alive during the period of this movie if it's taking place 12 years after the original series. So would it be cool to see Avatar: The Last Airbender gang with more fluid fights? Yeah, totally agree. I think seeing the adult fights and also seeing like how they've progressed with their technology, seeing the original cast with that sweet animation. That updated animation is going to be wicked cool, especially a Toph fight. If they do a really cool metal bending fight, I think that can, because metal bending has always been really interesting to me, in terms of the visual look of it, as it was in Legend of Korra. So to see what Toph does with it, and what they do with that, will be really interesting. Alexander, hello, welcome to the stream. I thought prime age were in your 30s and 40s. Nah, 30s and 40s is when you're starting to hit that's when you first, as a human being, start to hit your decline. Now, it might be a little bit different for the Avatar world, because I believe the Avatar characters tend to live longer than, standard humans. I think they live naturally more to like the 90s and 100s, like comfortably. And of course, you have Kyoshi and, Lauga from the Kyoshi books, who can live, past 200. Even longer than that. But no, typically, at least in our world, you start dipping off right at the end of your 20s and your early 30s is when your prime is, when you're in your prime and when you're kind of declining from your prime. So like when you're in your mid 30s, you're already on the decline, physically. Where do we go from here, says KinFam. Haven't all of the characters fulfilled their arcs? I agree. KinFam, that's actually a good concern to have, because it seems like, okay, what would this movie even be about? Everybody already had their arcs or whatever. I mean, you would have to basically build up new arcs, kind of like in a more episodic way, like in the sense that, again, maybe we can see why Aang was such a poor father, in actuality, which I don't think is going to be him being a poor father. It's just him, paying more attention to Tenzin, though that might not even be the storyline, because we're not even probably going to be dealing with Tenzin all that much. We do know that the working title originally was supposed to be like Aftershocks or something like that, and then Hidden Kingdom is the new title for it now, for the working title for this new movie. So, but yeah, I don't know what it is, you would do, unless you just give him more adult things to deal with, which again, it would be like, building up a family, just adulting. You just see adulting arcs now versus like their kid arcs. So there's that too. Ethan Craig, welcome to the stream. Minhal Hassan says, seeing Aang struggle with the fear of not having an airbending successor in the film after Kaya and Bumi's birth could make for some really interesting character moments, to be honest. Yes, and I agree with that as well. And that could answer KinFam's concern about like, what is this even going to be about? I could definitely see it being that it could be about that sort of thing. And that's a very adult storyline, about wondering about your children, if they're healthy, if they'll, take on your legacy well, that kind of a thing. We'll get to see Toph's first lover. Her kids are pretty old. Oh, that's true. I didn't even think. Okay, so I'm over here talking about Aang and Katara. Didn't even think about talking about Toph. Yeah, Lin. Oh, no. But here's the thing, though. Lin Beifong was a contemporary of Tenzin. So if Tenzin's not alive yet, and Lin is older than Suyin, then it's possible that we don't actually see Toph's lover yet or her children yet. That's if we believe if Tenzin's not going to be in this movie. If Tenzin's in this movie, then yes, it's possible that Lin would also be in this movie, because we know that, Tenzin and Lin were childhood sweethearts. So that is possible, and that'd be interesting to see. But the thing is, they would only be babies. Like at the most, they would be like a year or two old in this movie. So that really wouldn't show up unless they like show some cutesy thing with them playing with each other, like in a playpen or something like that, Oh, here we go. Aang had Tenzin at 32, according to Troy's the second. So yes, we will not have Tenzin. If that's the case, then we will not have Tenzin in this movie. We will not have Lin in this movie, which means we won't see Toph's lover in this movie, more than likely. Do we have it? Christopher, also, hello, Christopher. Welcome to the stream. Do we know if Sokka ever married? I'm guessing he doesn't have kids, which is strange given how active he was on the dating scene. Okay, so I actually made a whole video about this. I don't know what I titled it. I think it was something like the reason why Sokka doesn't have kids or something like that, or something to that effect. But my theory on that, and I think it'd be a really, really awesome storyline if they did do this, is that I think it would be awesome if Sokka, not awesome, but I think it would be very compelling and intriguing if we saw a storyline where Sokka is infertile. Like he just can't have children. And that's a very on it. And the reason why I believe that could happen, or why it would be interesting in the context of an Avatar story, is that they always touch on very deep storylines that you mostly don't see in other works. And seeing a storyline, especially now that we're moving into them being adults, they need to start dealing with more adult themes. Like, it can't just be about, like, oh, first love, what's our first kiss, or the little crushes we have. Now it's got to be about, like, okay, hey, responsibility of being an adult. What am I doing to contribute to society? How are my children going to come out of this? That sort of thing. I think it will be very interesting if we had it where Sokka is dealing with infertility, especially as you said, Christopher, in the chat, that he was so active on the dating scene and he's supposed to be like, this man's man. And also, Sokka has always dealt with his, somewhat toxic masculinity. And to see him deal with something that would, in his mind, demasculate him by not being able to bear children, not be able to sire children, I think would be a really awesome and compelling storyline. Now, I don't know if they would do it in this first movie coming up. It would be cool if maybe they had like their own miniseries for Sokka, or maybe it's a whole separate storyline. Where he has to deal with that. And I think that's a topic that doesn't get brought up much at all in a lot of media. And Avatar, that usually goes into that sort of thing, deals with that sort of a thing, will be kind of interesting. In fact, I want to see what you guys think in the poll of the idea of possibly Sokka being infertile. Would you be interested in a story where Sokka is infertile? Yes. No. And then we'll do an unsure. And then we'll talk about that a little bit. And then we'll move on to our next story that we have coming up here. But I'll read the whole message here that's on Avatar News, because that's where I got the reporting from. Avatar News previously exclusively reported that Avatar Studios' first movie about Aang and his friends would feature them as adults. Now, scooper Daniel RPK has revealed that Aang will be 24 in the movie, placing it 12 years after the end of the original animated series. Here's all the new info. And I already listed it that Aang's going to be 24, Katara is going to be 26, and they're both going to be lead characters. Sokka is a confirmed supporting character. He's going to be 27. Toph will be 24, and Zuko is going to be 28, but they have unknown roles, which makes me think that they're probably going to be cameo appearances, or they're going to have very, very small roles. The Aang and Katara led adult gang movie, rumored to be titled Hidden Kingdom, is coming to theaters on October 10th, 2025. And don't forget, Zuko will be getting his own movie following that year in 2026, although we don't know what time period it's set in, because it could be, super old Zuko or something like. Let me change the music here. I don't like the music in the background right now. All right, I don't like the music when they have like lyrics and stuff like that. Kind of bugs me. But let me go ahead and read the chat real quick. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm hyped to see a new villain. To be honest, yes, and that's something I think that they can elevate, right? Because I think a lot of people agree that the villains in The Legend of Korra are stronger than the villain in The Last Airbender. So I think seeing a more adult villain that challenges Aang and the gang, I think would be really awesome to see, especially since we've seen how well they've been doing with these newer villains that we've had in the series. This would mirror his lack of bending. Ooh, I don't know about it mirroring his lack of bending necessarily, but it could be compounded with those insecurities that he has about being a non-bender. And we know how important to him it is to be like manly and to come off as being masculine. We've seen him come to terms with that several times in the original series. So to see him being infertile, I think would be a really compelling storyline to see him go through, and an arc for him to go through. But I think that would be more of a case of a dedicated storyline. Like, it would be kind of crappy to me if it's like, just a side story in the background. I think it would need like dedicated time, like in a series or a dedicated movie or something like that, or something where Sokka's more of a lead character than a supporting role. Even if it's like a mini series and he's taking over one of those episodes, Let me see. Sokka couldn't bend and now he can't have kids. Man can't have anything. Oh no. I mean, it would make, because we haven't seen kids from him. So I mean, that will be one reason. And then people are also wondering what goes on with him and Suki. Like, are they not together anymore? What's going on with that? We don't have any indication of what happened to Suki during the timeline of Legend of Korra, which I'm personally okay with. I feel like not every character should have an answer for a storyline that does not have to do chiefly with the original cast. So not knowing what happened to Azula, not knowing what happened to Suki, not knowing what happened to Ty Lee or Sokka, like that stuff doesn't really bug me, but I do know that it bugs a lot of people in the fan base. Minhal Hassan says it'd be interesting to see Toph coming to terms with her role as police chief. Sorry, police chief. Chief of police, and maybe some earlier signs of her disillusionment that lead to the whole swamp enlightenment journey. That's true. Like, what makes her end up leaving? The thing is, I don't think we would get that storyline right now because this would be the beginning times of her being the chief of police, if she even is chief of police at this time, since we know for sure that Lynn should not be born by this point 12 years after the timeline. Like, Lynn gets born a little bit later after that point. That's a phenomenal idea. Oh, Ken, I think you might be referring to what we're talking about now with Sokka possibly not being able to sire children. Yeah, that would be so interesting for his character. Troy says, Michael, I feel like it depends on how it's dealt with. That's true. It also depends on how it's dealt with. But I think mostly when it comes to Avatar dealing with like hard themes and that sort of thing, I think it helps a lot. Or I would be confident in their ability to do something about that. I would say. Hey, what's going on, Ultimate Goku? You say still don't like the fact that they may be changing the original voice actors. I agree on that completely. I talked about that on several other streams that we've done in the past. I don't agree with them changing it so that it can be, appropriate. I do completely agree with the racial backgrounds of the characters being appropriate for the live action, as that is live action. But when it comes to voice acting, I think voice acting should always be left open to everyone, regardless of... Oh, I'll give you guys an example. This is a little bit off topic from Avatar. But recently, the Resident Evil 4 remake game just came out, and they cast a new voice for Ada Wong. And when I realized that they cast... or my thinking is that they cast that actress because of her Asian background. I'm not sure what kind of what Asian country she's from, or where her family's from, or her nationality. But she is Asian, and Ada Wong obviously is an Asian character. Prior to Resident Evil remake, Resident Evil 4 remake, all of Ada's voice actresses have been white, which that's fine if they're doing the voice right, which they were. This new Ada Wong, if you guys have played the game or have listened to this Ada Wong or fans of Resident Evil, not the best performance. And I hope, I don't know this for sure, but I hope the reason for them casting that version of Ada wasn't because she matched the visual of Ada, even though she wasn't the best performer for that role. And that's really all I care about. I care about who is the best for the role. When it comes to voice acting, for instance, one of my favorite series, Mass Effect, Ashley Williams, great voice acting. I know people don't really like the character all that much. I think she's a little bit deeper and people don't give enough credit in that game. Voiced by a black woman, and she's voicing a white woman. It shouldn't matter, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. It should not matter what the racial background of a character or an actor is if they're voicing a fictional character. Me personally, I think like when it comes to voice acting, it should always be open. When it's live action, totally, you need to have it like right, and the visual needs to be appropriate. Voice acting, I don't agree. Okay, so and let's before I continue on with the rest of the chat, because I think you guys are doing some really good feedback in the chat. I'm gonna look at our poll about what you guys think about Sokka being infertile or not being able to bear children in the new movies or in the new series. Would you be interested? So 56% of you said yes, you guys will be okay with that. You think it'll be intriguing. 23% of you say no, and 20% say unsure. So I would actually like to hear from some of you people who said no. What would make you not want to see that storyline from Sokka? The idea of him not being able to bear children. And if it's the case that he could and he's completely fine, like downstairs, why do you believe he didn't have children? Just so we can stir up the conversation. And then we're gonna move on to the next story. I'm gonna get through the chat real quick. Yes, we're getting to that later, Alexander. The title for the next Avatar show, which we still don't even know what it's related to. Hey, Theo Brown, welcome to the stream. I see you with the Avatar Antoine. I see you've been here for a minute. I want to see a young Zahir. I would like that too. I would love. You know what would be really cool? I think if we get a dedicated Sokka movie that's related to the Red Lotus, I think will be really cool. So we could get that storyline that I was just talking about a little while ago, but then also having the Red Lotus involved and a young Zahir, I think that would be really dope, Chris. I think that would be really cool. Ethan Craig says, I like to see a Sokka movie. Me too. He's one of my 3 favorite characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I feel like his character has a lot of potential. I totally agree with you. Whether he is infertile or has kids, such as potential has such. Wait, hold on. Whether he is infertile or has kids, such as a potential Varric or Suyin. Right. Avatar news hasn't been accurate that much when it comes to the cartoon. No, Avatar news has been pretty accurate so far. Now, the thing is that they get their information so quickly that sometimes behind the scenes, things can change. And that's because they're getting information from things that are concepts, that are in development, that are pre-production. But no, their record's pretty good. They're like in the 90% percentile in terms of like accuracy. On top of that, we don't get much information. Oh, Ethan says, on top of that, we don't get much information on what he did after Avatar: The Last Airbender in Legend of Korra. Yeah, we don't, except that we know that he was part of the, we know that Sokka was part of the Justice Council, the Republic City Council. And that's all we really know about him. Troy II says, I can't wait to see Katara and Aang's relationship and family dynamics. Me too. I really want to see that because I'm one of those people who are not like an uber fan of Katara and Aang as a couple. The comics don't really help with that. All they do is their little honeymoon smoochy stuff. But I would like to see more from them just so I can see a little bit more of what they are as a couple, like what they really are when it really comes down to it versus just being like the normal, typical couple situation, you know. Qatar would have something like a military wife's feelings, especially with Aang's personality. I can see that. I can definitely see that. I like the idea of exploring that. Absolutely. Live action, you have to make it accurate. Ultimate Goku says, absolutely, live action, you have to make it accurate, but with voice acting, it's a little more different. Yeah, it's definitely different to me. I don't agree with the idea of voice actors having to match the visual look of a character. But yeah, voice action should definitely be open to everyone. The original voice actors should be first priority. I agree. Also, in Avatar, I think the races are pretty loosely read anyway. Yeah, that too. In Avatar, The Last Airbender, the races are not actually races. Like you can't really say that the Fire Nation, they take from some Japanese imperialism, some Chinese imperialism, but they're not just one thing, right? They even have an offshoot with the Sun Warriors, which are based on like Mesoamerican, and then the Earth Kingdom, you have so many different little things. You have a little bit of the Chinese influence, you have Hindi influence in there. With the Poles, those are a little bit more concrete. You know, it's just the Inuit people. So you have that. But really, it's a hodgepodge of pan-Asian stuff going on in that show. So you can't even like pinpoint it that much. So even when you're casting someone, you're like, well, how are they supposed to be cast? They're not the right Asian, which, you know, that gets all muddled as well. Depends, since we still don't know if he gets with Suki. I mean, we do know that he's with Suki currently in the comics, but we don't know if he remains with Suki going forward, like as an adult. Another potential for Sokka is that he did have a kid, but they died early or didn't want to be associated with him and left. Possible too. Very possible. We are getting to the Kyoshi movie a little bit later. Is there going to be a season 5 or something? I just finished watching Korra today. It was great. I want more. Hey, Houston City, welcome. I haven't seen you in the chat before, but welcome to the chat. Everybody say hello to THC, Trap Houston City. No, the season 4 was the last season of Legend of Korra, but they are going to make a Legend of Korra movie, which is due to come out, I think, right now in 2027. So it's a really, really far off, but it's supposed to continue the story of Korra and Legend of Korra. All right, cool. So let's move on to our next story. So we just got done talking about the ages of Aang and the gang in the new movie, which got confirmed this last month. Let's move on to... let's see. Hold on. Movie international. I mean, we have some stuff about like the international release date about the gang movie, but that's whatever. Movie casting calls. Oh, we do know that the casting calls officially went out for the adult gang movie because they are recasting pretty much everybody's voice except for Zuko's. I think the next big thing we have to talk about will be the Kyoshi stuff, right? So let's talk about the Kyoshi stuff. Yeah. So let's read this article first from what is now being called tentatively. It's a working title. We don't know if this is the official title, but the next animated project, which could either be involving the Earth Avatar or a different series entirely, is going to be called Avatar: New Generations. So in the article here, we have We have another project, a potential title for you today called Avatar New Generations. Avatar Studios is currently casting for this project. Avatar Kyoshi and her supporting cast, including Yoon, which I'm really excited for, Rangi, and Hiran from Chronicles of the Avatar novels, will all appear in sizable roles in New Generations. Learn more about their involvement in our previous exclusive here, which, hold on, we probably should read that just so we get the context for it. But I think it's the one that I read before. Yeah. Kyoshi is coming to the big screen or the small screen. We're not sure. Not only is Aang's team Avatar currently being cast, but we can exclusively report that Kyoshi is as well, plus a certain team mom. Avatar Studios' first movie and or show will feature Rangi's mother, Hiran, a member of Karuk's team, and then subsequently his next life's Kyoshi firebending teacher. This is on top of the Kyoshi era characters we previously exclusively reported on, Kyoshi, Rangi, and Yoon. We can also tell you that Avatar Studios is currently casting these characters. What does this all mean? Well, first of all, if these names aren't familiar to you, these are characters from the official Chronicles novels, the Chronicles of the Avatar novels by FCE, which, by the way, you have to read. I think they are top tier Avatar, The Rise of Kyoshi and Shadow of Kyoshi. Without spoilers, the situation at the beginning of the books is this: the Earth sages have incorrectly identified the next Avatar after Karuk dies, to be an Earthbender named Yoon, who is also known as the False Avatar Yoon. Kyoshi, who we obviously know is the next Avatar, basically is living in Yoon's household as like a maid, kind of a caretaker. And then the firebender companion is someone named Rangi, and her mother is Hiran or Heiran. I think it's Heiran. And then now we're getting this new story about Avatar Generations, which most likely seems like it's going to be a series. I don't think it's a movie, but it could be. We don't know. We know it could be a movie or it could be a show that's going to involve Kyoshi in some capacity. So I wonder, since the title of this work is called Avatar New Generations, could it possibly be a mini-series where we just get little pockets of story from... Now, here's the interesting thing. If this does involve Yoon in some capacity, previously they said they will not be adapting anything that's pre-existing. Anything that they're doing for the new shows, we know won't involve the novels or the comics. So my wonder is, are they just saying, forget what we said about that? We actually are going to adapt the novels. Because I do think of anything that should be adapted, it should be the first novel, the first Kyoshi novel, which I think would be really interesting. So let me what poll question can I ask you guys about this? Well, I guess just, are you excited for the novel character? Or actually, you know what? First off, what I really want to know is, how many of you have actually read the books? Have you read the Kyoshi novels? That's my question to the chat. And yeah, all you have is a yes or no. So I want to see how many people actually are even familiar with the book to begin with. Let me catch up to the chat. They originally said the Kyoshi movie would be before anything else, which was wrong. It was the Aang movie. Yeah, that's true. But again, Ultimate Goku, that's not being wrong. That's just them getting information early. Because when you're working in a studio, especially when you're working that far out, because Avatar Studios was announced 2.5 years ago, things get shifted around all the time. Like, even if you look at Marvel, and if you look at some of the projections they had 2-3 years ago, when they're like, hey, this is our timeline for Marvel, how often that gets shifted around. That's not Avatar Studios, or that's not Avatar News being wrong. That's them being correct. It's just that the studio shifts things around in the background all the time. Is there going to be a season 5 or something? I already got that one. Yes, Avatar is a mixture of all different cultures, as Ultimate Goku is telling us. I mean, the 100-Year War is based on a real one. Yeah, it's the show is a pan-Asian show. It's not a particular Asian show. Like, even to the point where they're extending it all the way out to Mesoamerica is part of, their lore, basically. Is there much news about the other Avatar series that's supposed to take place in modern times? Oh, you mean like the Earth Avatar? No, this month we did not get any new information about the new Earth Avatar and anything going on with that series. Well, all we can do is speculate about that so far, but nothing official, at least this month. Mentality of nature. Hello, welcome to the stream. Also, SSJ group. Sorry, I didn't say hello to you. Hello. I'm so excited to sit in the movie theater and watch the movie and seeing the Avatar Studios intro so much. Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that. We probably will have a new intro with the Avatar Studios logo and all that kind of stuff. I wonder how that's going to be. If Sokka ends up marrying Suki, he most likely will have a kid. Yes, most likely would have a kid because they probably will get busy doing that. Oh no, the chat, it jumped around. There we go. Troy Second says it's going to be really hard to hear new voices. The old ones are so cemented in my head. I agree with that, but I think it might be somewhat okay because one's child voice and their adult voice is very different. But I do hope that they get actors who perform similar to what we had prior. Like, I don't want entirely new voice acting, you know. I hope that doesn't happen. Ethan Craig says, I've been thinking about this. What if Varric is Sokka's kid, but he lies about who his dad is because he wants to make his own way in the world and not just use his father's name to get what he wants? That's very possible. Seriously hope they make an effort to bring back the original voice actors. The ones most likely to be replaced are Aang and Katara, but Sokka and Toph's actors are very beloved in the community. Yeah, I agree. Toph, I think it's more okay to change the voice. Sokka, though, Sokka has a very distinct voice, and I think it's going to be very hard to have someone do that one justice, in my opinion. I think that's the uphill battle. Toph, I think you can absolutely, because there's such an age difference between someone who is age, was she 12 in the original, and now she's like 24. Your voice definitely can change. But Sokka is already 14. No, he's not 14. Isn't he like pretty old in the original? Like 16 or 17 in the original show. So his voice is already kind of like what his voice is going to be. That's going to be a harder task for sure. And do you think they will or should animate the Avatar novels? I would love it to be animated. The Avatar novels for sure. SSJ. I think that would be awesome. Also, what about Suki's voice actor? She actually is Asian, so why recast her? We actually don't even know if Suki's going to be in the next movie. So far, there's been no reports about a casting for Suki, and she has not been announced to be in the new movie. So as of right now, Suki, as far as we know, is not in the movie. I've read the comic books, but I have not read the novels because they're not comics. Dude, even if you don't like reading, like at least listen to the audiobooks for the Kyoshi novels. They are freaking fantastic. Can't recommend them enough. Are you going to talk about the legacy of Yang Chen? Yeah, that'll be later. The only thing, I am not a huge fan of the Yang Chen book, unfortunately. So I'm not super excited about the second book, to be completely honest. I feel so bad for people that haven't. They're amazing. Oh, people who haven't read the Kyoshi novels. Yes, they're very, very good books. Avatar New Generation sounds like it could be an anthology. Yeah, I agree. Avatar Jetso, I agree. I believe that the way it sounds, Avatar New Generations could be like an anthology type series, which I think will be really cool because it'll be a way that you can touch into things briefly, right? Like maybe you don't want to do like a full series about it. You don't want to do a whole movie about it. But hey, you do want like a little bit, right? You want like a little tidbit in there. I think that would work very well for that. If it is like an anthology. Hey, what's going on, Ace? Welcome. I don't think they'd recast Suki and Zuko since they actually are Asian. But everyone else likely to change. Yeah, I agree that that's likely going to be what's going to happen. Ken says, no, they shouldn't adapt the comics or the novels. They should stick to new content. Now, while I agree with there being new content, particularly with the comics, because I don't really care for the comics being animated, honestly. But when it comes to like a freaking phenomenal story, like, and also I've come around to the idea of adapting things that previously existed, especially after seeing The Last of Us and seeing the reception for The Last of Us TV show, and realizing that, yeah, not everybody likes reading books, or not everybody reads comics, or not everybody plays video games. Because so many people got exposed to the great story that was The Last of Us just recently because they made a live action TV series that people really enjoyed. And I really, really want people to understand the story, the brilliant story that is the Kyoshi novel. And if it means making it an animated thing, then shoot, man, make it an animated thing. I wouldn't mind it. Hey, what's going on? P, they might, though, as it said that Yoon is coming up. Yeah, Yoon's coming up. So, like, you're gonna have to adapt the book if Yoon's gonna be in it, because Yoon's only in the story. I mean, no spoilers, but he's in it for, you know, a limited time. I will say so. If you're gonna include Yoon, it's either gonna have to be prior to the events of the book or like during the events of the books. You know what I mean? Like, it's you can't really go in between with that character in particular. Hey, Theo Brown. The issue with changing Sokka's voice actor is the voice actor who played him improved several lines a day. He put a lot of his personality in his character. Yeah, he did. Well, I didn't realize how much of his personality he put into Sokka until I watched the first 2 seasons of Dragon Prince. I'm like, oh, that's just him. Like, that's not really a character voice. That's just him. And yeah, his voice is very distinct, so it's gonna be hard to like replace that. All right, let me end the poll really quick, and then I'm gonna continue on with the chat. So, have you read the Kyoshi novels? 64% of you. Oh, okay, 64% of you have said yes. But I think that's because you guys are on my channel. So yeah, and 35% of you said no. So the 35% of you in the chat need to get with it, because like they are incredible books. If you don't like reading, at least give the Audible or audiobook a chance, because they're very, very good. Very, very good stories. Do you think they should add projectile weapons in the Avatar series? Because a story about non-benders would be epic, to be honest. I did think about that. Like, if in this modern story they like, you know, had firearms and then metal benders could like manipulate firearms or something like that, I think that'd be kind of interesting. But I don't know. I feel like they want to keep it non-modern weapon based for the way that they depict the show. So I think it's unlikely for that to happen. But I would like it. I think that'd be cool, personally. What do you think of the Avatar Generations app game and the voice actors are in that? It stands right now. They haven't been confirmed on who they are in the app game. Yeah, I mean, they do a pretty good job of emulating the voices of the original cast in that game. How I feel about the game, it's okay. It's okay. It's functional for what it's trying to do as a gacha game or gacha game. I don't even know how you pronounce that. Also, if Azula is brought back, it's going to be really difficult to envision anybody else doing it besides the current voice actor. Yeah, that too. Oof. Because, was it Mae Whitman? Wait, Mae Whitman did the voice of Azula, right? No. Mae Whitman did Katara. I forgot who did the Azula voice. But yeah, that's going to be a hard performance to follow. Yeah, the Avatar comics are rough, which is unfortunate because I think Jean Lu Yang is a great writer otherwise. I don't think the comics ever get actively bad, except for maybe like the Search, the Zuko's mom thing. But yeah, they're not brilliant, I wouldn't say, you know. The Kyoshi novels, Theo says, the Kyoshi novels are the best Avatar story we've gotten so far. Hot take. I don't think that's a hot take. I mean, the reason why I say it's not a hot take is because no one has really read the book. Because I feel like if more people read the book, they would agree that it's the best story that we've gotten for Avatar, period. I think it's the best story that we've gotten from Avatar. What do you think of Mentality of Nature says, what do you think of making new canon live action stuff in the universe, like with Star Wars having the Mandalorian and the Clone Wars, etc., and the new DCEU? I don't. So in terms of Avatar Studios, they have absolutely no plans for doing anything live action. So the Netflix series and everything that it's doing is completely separate from what they have a separate canon happening. Like they have a separate, you know, storyline happening with that one versus what we're getting with the animated shows. The animated Avatar Studios works are completely separate from live action, and they have no plans to do anything. They don't have plans to do live action in Avatar Studios. Improv. Improv. Oh, improve. Oh, because I said improve, you said improv. I got you. Animating the comics and books is tricky. I don't want to get into a Star Wars situation and get messy continuity. Well, it wouldn't be. I mean, if you are animating the comics, you wouldn't have messy continuity because it would all be streamlined. But you know, hey, what's going on, Benny? How you doing? Haven't seen you in a bit. What's going on, bro? Gray. Oh, yeah, that's right. Gray is the voice of Azula. Correct, you are. What about a new fifth nation? Not like the pirate fifth nation, but a non-bender utopia with highly advanced technology. I mean, that's kind of what the Equalists were like trying to do, right? In the original Korra show, is that they were trying to, you know, I feel like, you know, create their own. Well, no, they weren't really trying to create their own society. They were trying to equalize everybody, so everybody be like non-benders, basically. Wasn't the VA for Azula that girl playing Ming Hua? I don't believe so. I don't believe Ming Hua and Azula's voice actors are the same, but I could be wrong. It could be. Yeah, Avatar Jetso, I completely agree. I wouldn't say the comics are bad. They're just forgettable. That's it. Oh, okay, there you go. No, it was the voice of Vicky from Fairly Odd Parents, says someone. So yeah, the new generations, I hope it's like an anthology sort of situation. I think that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, let's move on to our last story, which is going to be the announcement of the Yang Chen book. I'm asked that question: who has read the Yang Chen book, and then who has enjoyed it? So, Chronicles of the Avatar. Oh, hold on, I don't like when there's lyrics in these freaking songs. I'm gonna turn that down. All right, we're in a good spot. All right, Chronicles of the Avatar: The Legacy of Yang Chen by FCE hits shelves this July. This is the second Yang Chen novel after last year's The Dawn of Yang Chen, and the fourth Chronicles of the Avatar novel after The Rise of Kyoshi and The Shadow of Kyoshi. Check out the cover reveal and about the official description below. Common enemies make for strange friends. After Yang Chen has succeeded in bringing a measure of stability to Ben-Er... Oh, wait. Oh, sorry, I said after. Avatar Yang Chen has succeeded in bringing a measure of stability to Ben-Er, but her successes have been limited to a single city, and rumors concerning unanimity, which is a freaking hard word to say, a weapon capable of total obliteration, have led to increasing tensions among the Fire Nations, the Four Nations. Desperate to restore diplomacy, Yang Chen attempts to de-escalate hostilities between heads of states, but in the wake of a brutal assassination and the freeing of unanimity, Yang Chen is forced to bring Kavik, her trusted former companion, whose betrayal crushed her, back to her fold. As the Four Nations teeter on the brink of conflict and she begins to unravel the power-hungry Zhangzhou, Chasi, True's agenda, Yang Chen is forced to measure the worth of humanity and how much can be sacrificed in the name of balance. This taut and provocative fourth installment in the Chronicles of the Avatar series follows Yang Chen as she charts the course of her legacy, finally making peace with her choices and facing Avatarhood with the courage it demands. So, as most of you already know, I was not a big fan of the Yang Chen book. I was especially disappointed because I really, really enjoyed the Kyoshi books, and I was just so deflated and so disinterested in what I got out of the Yang Chen book. It took me several months to even finish it. I don't even remember most of the story to begin with, to be honest with you. I completely skipped the review on my channel. Like, I didn't even review it on my channel. But I want to ask you guys a question here. How many of you have read the Yang Chen book? Have you read the first Yang Chen book? Question mark. And then I'm probably going to do a follow-up poll asking you guys if you enjoyed the Yang Chen book. Or actually, we'll ask you guys just in the chat. So who in the chat who has read the Yang Chen book, how many of you actually enjoyed the book? Because I must say, I was not a fan. I was hoping, I don't even know what I was hoping for. I don't think I had any like specific hopes for the book, just that it will be entertaining. And that's the main fatal flaw of it. The book is just straight up boring to me. It's just boring. It's just not interesting to me. I was interested, like there was a scene in the beginning with Kavik and his family, and when Yang Chen comes to his house, and there's like this like push and pull kind of situation going on. That was like really interesting. But other than that, like I just was not into the book at all, man. The politics in that book, were just really boring to me. Like just the plot line itself, I just was disinterested in it. Was not a big fan of what was going on there. I mean, I'm trying to catch up to the chat right now. It's sometimes hard to remember which voice actor is which. That's true. I watched it and loved it. I mean, I read it and loved it. Oh, Yang Chen. Okay, so there's someone who loved it. All right, so Mentality of Nature. What did you love about the Yang Chen book? If the novels, Troy Second says, if the novels were animated, though, I think a different art style might be necessary. One more similar to Avatar: The Last Airbender than Legend of Korra, because Kyoshi stories feel very much like an ancient epic. Huh? What? Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra have a similar art style. Like the base art style is the same. The only thing different is like the setting. In that, Legend of Korra is more modern. Because what I would want is the production values of Legend of Korra to be in a Kyoshi animated work, but of course with the old time setting of like more closely related to Avatar: The Last Airbender. Avatar Jesso says he needs to finish the Avatar Yangchen book. Ken Pham says picked up the first Yangchen book but haven't gotten the chance to read it yet. To be read, it's just too dang long. The book isn't actually that long. Actually, I have it right here. So I have the book here, which I actually didn't even read it as the print copy. I read the ebook version of it, I think. Well, no, I started with the ebook version, and then I read the and then I did the audiobook to finish it, and I just was just not. It's not even that long of a book. Like the font in here is pretty big, and it's like 1.5 spacing. You guys can't see it because it's so bright on here, but 300 pages, and it's not even a true 300 pages because the font's pretty big in here, like typical young adult books. Yeah, I agree. It's hard to read, and I feel like some of FCE's prose, I would even say I would make this criticism of him in the Kyoshi books, that some of his prose takes a while to ingest and to understand. Like, it's not something you could just read and like get through. You have to like read passages several times to even like get the meaning, and that does slow down the process. And pair that with a story that I didn't care about, like that's just not a good combo. Do you think the airbenders in modern times will end up learning to use the techniques Zahir employed against Korra when he used flight because he changed a bit? I think more people will be aware of it, but to do something like what Zahir did, you have to have an extreme mentality. I don't believe, or at least I don't agree with the notion that flying for airbenders should be easy going forward. Like, I don't think just because Zahir discovered it should be easy. Not in the same way that like lightning generation is easy because it's been taught now, or metal bending is easy now because it's taught. The key difference with airbending in particular is that airbending for flight means that you have to be untethered by your worldly possessions, which means that you have to be an utter monk to basically do that. So only characters who are like that, who are not worldly, who are not materialistic, I'm okay with having that ability. But if you aren't that kind of a character, if you're like, I don't want to see someone in their freaking modern apartment in Republic City on their phone, drinking their boba, walk out of their balcony and then start flying. Because that kind of character should not be able to fly based on the rules set up by Legend of Korra, in that you have to be basically like this monk-like character who, doesn't take anything like that. Like it has to be an extreme ability, in my opinion, for it to work. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Sorry, guys. I've been wanting to read the Kyoshi novels for a while now. Christopher, do it, man. Do it. They're so good. They are so good. There's an antagonistic character in the first book in particular. It's my favorite antagonist in the entire franchise. Like, not even kidding. Oh, so Mentality of Nature actually loved Yang Chen more than he did the Kyoshi books. So that's an unpopular opinion. Like, even if you look online and you look at some of the reviews online, like, most people prefer the Kyoshi books and were disappointed by Yang Chen. So I want to hear from you, Mentality. What did it for you in the Yang Chen book? Read about half of it, kind of lost interest, plan to go back to it though. For the Yang Chen book, Avatar Jetso, is that what you're talking about? Goku says, what personality do you think the next Avatar will be for the Earthbender? Since that would be the next Avatar, would be an Earthbender, do you think that he would be born in Republic City? He or she could be born, anywhere. I don't think necessarily it would be Republic City. Typically, it's harder to find the Earthbender because the Earth Kingdom is so large. But personality-wise, so we just had, the carefree Aang, and then we had kind of the hothead Korra. So what personality type would we want to see from our next one? I mean, those are both the extremes, right? Like, oh, the carefree, I just want to be a kid, and I'm a hothead, I want to prove myself. What other personality traits would be interesting? I guess someone who the classic hero's journey, refusal of the call character, who doesn't want to be the Avatar, I think would be kind of interesting. Like, they're like, I don't want all this responsibility. I'd rather just see just be a normal person. Like, I think that could be an interesting thing. Hey, Julian, when you say it was a hard read, are you referring to the Kyoshi books or are you referring to the Yang Chen book? Have you read the horror comics? Yes, I have. I think they also are pretty mediocre. Oh, here we go. We got the answer for Mentality of Nature. I loved it. And by it, he's referring to the Yang-Chen books. He loved it because he loves politics and having more of a character, an avatar who is a spy and manipulative in the best ways. I love seeing more of the companion's point of view and also seeing how Kavik wasn't the best bender, and I feel like I've been overloaded with too many great benders. Also, I love the pacing and excited for the payoff in the next book. I also love the kind of representation of it. I do agree with that, though. I do like Kavik a lot, particularly at the beginning of the story. I think the beginning of the story to me for Yang-Chen was the best part of it. It just lost me midway through. But I always like it when a character is not overpowered. I always prefer characters who have to struggle to do well or to keep up with other better, more talented benders, or in anything, not just in Avatar, but in any kind of like fiction. So I do agree with you on that front. Ken, you're talking about your own to be read list, not the Yang-Chen, but got you. We need a young Uncle Iroh novel. That'd be kind of cool. I would prefer to see that as a comic or an animated series though than a novel. But novel would be kind of cool too, especially with Iroh. I think actually no, you might be right because Iroh has a lot more introspection, and that's what a book does best is the introspection. So yeah, you know what? I think I might agree with you on that one. That I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Trinity duets. Korra drags Aang. What was that? What was that? What was that referring to? SSJ says true. There should be more stakes added into the next series that comes after Korra because losing that connection with her past lives is a problem. Okay. What is your problem with the past lives? Because I know this is a popular opinion among the fandom that I do not share, and that is like this devastation that the past lives are gone. People in the chat, explain to me why is it that it devastates you so much that the past lives are severed after Korra? Because I never understood that. Before we do that, I'm gonna go with ending the poll. Maybe the next Earthbender would have to learn from Kyoshi and Roku because those two tried pretty hard to master their craft. Well, they wouldn't be able to. They only can learn from Korra because the timeline got reset. So have you read the Yang-Chen book? So 69% of you said no, and 30% of you said yes. So of the 30% of you, which I think you guys have already been sounding off in the comments, what did you enjoy about the Yang-Chen book? If you did enjoy it, because I just could not get into it. The new Earthbender avatar could be a Beifong, maybe. That'd be kind of interesting. Also, I was thinking a realistic and sarcastic, blunt avatar would be cool. Oh, I like that. Ethan, I do like that idea a lot. Sarcastic, blunt, like kind of like a Toph-like avatar. That actually would be pretty cool, I think. Like a sarcastic, kind of jokey avatar. Because we haven't really had that. Like, yeah, Avatar, Aang could make jokes sometimes. Korra did not have a sense of humor like that at all. But a jokey avatar, like oh my God, think about it, like a Peter Parker-esque avatar. That would get me jazzed. If we had a character like that. Hey, Wise Junior, what's up? I haven't read any of the books, but I'm hoping to get a bundle with both Yang-Chen and the Kyoshi books. Oh, well, yeah, you probably want to wait for that until maybe like 2024, because I'm sure they're going to put out some sort of bundle with the 4-book series. Because right now they have a bundle for the Kyoshi books, but they don't have a bundle for the Kyoshi books and then the one Yang-Chen book. But they might do a 4-book bundle in the future, which makes a lot of sense. Uncle Iroh books would be interesting too, because it helps build lore of how good he was. We got to see him in his later years. Imagine his prime years. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, actually. I don't deny that would be really cool. Hey, what's going on, Richard? Also, what's up, Albert? Could you make a top 10 favorite Avatar and Korra characters? You know what? I have never done that before. Actually, you're very right. I've done like my favorite fight scenes. I've done like, who are the most powerful characters. I haven't done just like a straight up who's my favorite character in Avatar and Legend of Korra. I think I should do that at some point in the future. It's a good idea. Yeah, catch it on sale if you can, Wise Junior, for sure. Past lives help give them wisdom and helps them figure things out in a tough situation. Sure, but like that storyline could be set up for those past lives that we already had. So like, for instance, Yang-Chen book. We didn't really get much of that because, that's one of my issues with that book is that we didn't get as many of the past lives as I thought we were going to get, especially with her hearing all their voices at the same time. But you can have that storyline with the other past avatars. You don't have to have that with the new. You can have new and different storylines with the new avatars, because they don't have a bunch of people in their ear that they can go to, especially considering something like the end of the original series with Aang, where he got all this advice from all these past lives, and he basically said, "Screw you guys! I'm not gonna listen to any of your advice. I'm going my own way. I'm not gonna listen to any of you." Meaning that sometimes the past lives aren't even useful, because you have to create your own path. Wait, if Aang didn't have the past lives to help him, he probably wouldn't be able to defeat the Fire Lord? No, he totally could have, because he would have gone to the Lion Turtle anyway, and he would have gotten his Deus Ex Machina ending. Like, he didn't even use the advice from the past lives when he communed with them. Yeah, Ken, I think we're definitely in the minority. That Korra losing the past lives was the most interesting parts of the series. Yeah, I think so as well. Past lives means no more murderous Kyoshi taking control of the avatars. It's so funny, Ethan. Ethan, you haven't read the Kyoshi novels, have you? I could tell by the way that you're painting Kyoshi as this murderous lady. Korra was a little bit sarcastic, but she wasn't like charming. Like, you wouldn't like equate Korra to like a Peter Parker. You know what I mean? Like, she was blunt for sure, but she was sarcastic in like a snarky way. I'm talking about someone who's sarcastic in like a charming, fun-loving way, like more like a Bolin, like a Bolin as the Avatar would be super awesome to me. I think they can still speak to past avatars by visiting certain special locations or by specific artifacts. Technically, Korra did see the past lives when she was in the spirit realm with Kuvira. Was she communing with them? I don't know if she was communing with them, but I know that she saw them. And also, that'd be an interesting thought, that if the past lives got split, what if they're just roaming in the spirit realm now? Because that can happen. Like, people can just roam around the spirit realm just the way that Iroh is roaming around the spirit realm right now. I actually didn't finish the Yongshin novel. I listened to Airspeed Prime's chapter breakdowns and got my knowledge from the book. Oh, you know what? I might have to do that too. I might just have to go through, because he really enjoyed the book, right? Airspeed Prime, I think he says he enjoyed the book. Maybe I should go through his chapter breakdowns just to like give it another shot and like understand like what's going on with it, or understand what I might be missing from it. From a standpoint for someone who isn't really a big fan of it. Hey, what's going on, Hope Lynn? I really like the book mostly because it separated the story into two sides, one without Yang Chan and one with her. And it also gave us some more context into how the world functions without the Avatar. I did like that too. So that's the thing. These are all things that were in the beginning of the story that I enjoyed quite a lot. Like, when she had her first initial meeting with the Bin-Er council, and the way that they were just so dismissive of her and be like, yeah, we don't need the Avatar. We don't need your help. Like, you're useless right now in this situation. I loved all of that. The first conversation that she had with the family, with Kavik's family, and how she was able to basically do her own like spy mission to see like what kind of trade routes were happening. Like, all that stuff was cool to me. It was just the middle of the book and the ending of the book. I just lost me, man. Like, that plot just lost me. I just did not care. What the past lives were the ones that were able to get him to where he was in that position to be able to do that to the Lion Turtles. Would sarcasm in a Deadpool kind of way freshen things up in the character? Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't want them to go so far where an Avatar is like Deadpool status and like breaking the fourth wall and being that quippy, but in that ballpark, I think they should be playing in that same ballpark. That'd be fun, right? Having a super jokey Avatar, I think, would be really cool. Girl Firebender after Earthbender Avatar. Well, that'd be kind of cool. Girl Firebender. I think I would be down for that too. That's interesting to think about in the case of the past lives in the spirit world, right? Because also, what's up, Kelly Jack? But yeah, like, after they got severed, could they potentially just start showing up in the spirit realm, just like all the other people can potentially be, in spirit realm if you do it. I'm only reading the books to get Yang Chen. Oh, that's true, because I know people who are just straight up fans of Yang Chen wanted more Yang Chen. And I'm not a particular fan of Yang. I'm not like against Yang Chen. I actually liked her story in the Rift with Old Iron. So I'm not like against Yang Chen, but I'm not like a super fan of her either. What really sold me was Kyoshi, because people loved Kyoshi even before the novel, which I never understood. Because I'm like, what? You guys are like super duper in love with Kyoshi like that, even though you don't really know like what her character is? Man, the book turned me to Kyoshi. I am a Kyoshi stan now, bro. Like, I really do like Kyoshi based off what how she came out in the book. When Avatar characters die, they go to the spirit world. Not all the time, Crew Studio. Only sometimes. Like the only one we know for sure who's done that is Iroh, and also that we know that Admiral Zhao got stuck there, but he got put there by a spirit, which is a little bit different. I can't stick around for the sake of spoilers, but I just recently finished the first Kyoshi novel, and I love watching your videos on them. Halfway through the second one, see guys, look at everyone. Be like Jupiter. Everyone be like Jupiter and read the freaking books, man. They are so good. It's literally the best Avatar story. Literally. Got through about half of the first Kyoshi novel, but dropped it. Trying to pick it back up. She is a bit murderous based on her advice to Aang. And when she says, yeah, I killed your leader during that trial. No. She wasn't saying, like, I'm out to murder people. She's saying that, like, if I have the opportunity to kill him because he was doing a bad thing, I will do it. And that's still very much what the Kyoshi does in the Kyoshi book. But she does it with much more heart than what people get her credit for. People, like, kind of make her out just to be, like, the meme version. Not mean version, but the meme version of Kyoshi, that all she wants to do is like go and kill people. When that's not really the case. She's way more nuanced and deeper than that. What were your thoughts on the Yang-Chen's characterization of the book? I was cool with her characterization, Ryan. I think her characterization was fine. I just didn't like the plot. The thing that didn't capture me about that novel was the plot. My main issue with it is just that. Like the characters, I was fine with. I was fine with the characters entirely. Really, really liked Kavik. I think Kavik was a really cool character. I mean, they would have sometimes fixed the mistakes of their predecessors, and there's most likely a lot more things that we just don't know from the spirit world. Yeah, we don't know a lot about the spirit world. That's very true. Wasn't Wan a bit of a sarcastic avatar? Oh yeah, he kind of was. Yeah, I kind of want to see the return of like a Wan-like character, but like I'm talking about like even turn that up a notch, like really make them super quippy and like sarcastic. All right, cool. So I am going to wrap it up. If you guys want to do any like open Q&A, I guess we could, but really I don't think we really have to. You guys know mostly about me, and you guys are here mostly for Avatar, not for me. What plans do I have coming up on this channel? Let me talk about my plans for the channel. Right now, I am scheduled to have a few videos done. I'm doing a Korra and Bolin romantic timeline video that I'm planning on doing today after I do my taxes, because I got to do my taxes. And then I'm doing another sibling tournament short and an April Fool's thing. Well, you guys know right now. Don't tell nobody else, but there's going to be an April Fool's short that I'm putting out in a few hours. And then I'm continuing with the Legend of Korra Explained series. And then when I get back, and then I'm going on a big trip to London, so I'll be gone for like 10 days. When I get back, I'm going to be doing 2 videos about Azula's redemption and whether or not I would be down for an Azula redemption or not. Oh, look at all these people just showing up now. Now that we're saying goodbye, now people are just showing up in the chat that I hadn't seen all like the goddamn bacon. What's up, the goddamn bacon? Glad to see you. What do you think about doing a Avatar What If series? I have thought about doing that, and I should actually think about doing something like that, because I know that does very well. I remember back in the day, like Star Wars channels used to do that all the time, and it worked very well for those channels. Probably should do the same for some Avatar videos. But anyway, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for joining me today and being part of the discussion as we talked about the news for everything this month. Vocal Edits, thank you for showing up. Also, let me see. I think someone became a member today or renewed their membership. Who was it? Ken Fam, thank you for becoming a member. And for 17 months, thank you for the 17-month streak. Sideho Joe, thank you for being part of it. See you later. Are you going to do a game stream soon? Or any more? Not currently. I'm gonna wait until there's like a probably like an Avatar game or maybe like a big game that I'll stream. But currently, no. I'm thinking on maybe doing another Legend of Korra playthrough, because I kind of like playing that game maybe like once a year. So I might be doing that in the future. But yeah, see you guys later. See you, Callie Jack. Peace out. See you later. P. Everybody, be like Jabbater and read the Kyoshi novels, please. They're so good. I swear. See you later, Wise Jr. Ultimate Goku. See you later. Hey, thanks for the good questions today too, Ultimate Goku in the discussion. Albert, see you later. Take care. By the way, I referenced you in a Star Wars project. You helped me score a 85%. Oh, thank you, sir. Hey, that's what's up, Albert. That's what's up. All right, y'all. As always, peace and much love to you.